welcome back to Weaving Silver Linings. I'm with Linda and James. I'm going to let my guests introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Linda Kohler, and I'm the president and CEO of Sharp Literacy, and here we are at the Johnson Controls Garden and Greenhouse.
And I'm James Wilburn, Assistant Executive Director of the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, the proud host of the Johnson Controls Garden and Greenhouse.
So I just want to thank you both again for being here today. This is, the day of filming. This is when our website launches, our trailer for this season launches, and for us to be sitting here during the interview to continue wrapping up the season, it's just really an exciting time for me. I want to showcase Sharp Literacy and what you guys are doing to bring people together in the community. Can you let people know more about what Sharp Literacy is?
Sure. Our mission is that we partner with educators to foster a love of learning and brighten children's futures through our innovative STEAM-based programming. So we've actually been around, this is our 27th year of providing just awesome experiences to elementary kids. We're K-3 through 5th grade. We are currently in 49 schools, and we're going to serve over 8,600 kids this academic year. We also have summer programming, Silver Spring Neighborhood Center being one of our sites, and I think the first site that we've had. But we serve our population is underserved kids, so we're about 45% Black and about 48% Hispanic. About 80% of the students we serve qualify for the reduced lunch and breakfast program. So just really an indication of kids living in some pretty high poverty areas. So we're just thrilled that we're able to, have a program that we bring in to the schools at no charge to the schools.
Seriously. And so that's how you guys met?
Yes. So back in the year 2018, in search of a partner organization to help provide additional art supports for the children, met Linda with Sharp Literacy, and that started our wonderful partnership. Since 2018, we have a thriving greenhouse, which we're currently in, as well as an outside garden area that we do basically year-round programming with the kiddos. Through this phenomenal collaboration, we're able to provide these hands-on activities free of charge, knowing that we serve a very socioeconomically challenged clients. It really means a lot that we can do this at no cost to them.
It was amazing. We were walking back after we had a gathering with our summer kickoff, the kids from Silver Spring and a few other community learning centers at the park down the street. And we had Ryan Braun there from Milwaukee Brewers and his wife, who's a big supporter and really believes in our mission, both at Sharp and Silver Spring. So we were walking back, and Tom Ellis, who was the executive director at the time, I said, "What's going on in that greenhouse?" He's like, "Nothing." Yeah. "What do you want to do with it?" I'm like, "I'll give you a call in an hour." Yeah. So that's how the partnership, and at that point, not really sure what we were getting into, but with strong partners that believe in giving kids a level playing field, so that they have the same opportunities and experiences that they're, the more affluent kids have. There's no reason why they can't enjoy and they can't learn about sustainability and learn about, harvesting and raised garden beds and aquaponics and hydroponics and solar dehydrators. It's amazing. It's just a life-size learning tool for our kids.
We like to joke around. I call it the Zen Den. Because you come in here, you water the plants, you feed the fish, and there's something about providing care that helps you care for yourself. And so that's my takeaway from it. And I would guess that 95% of the babies that have been through here over the last 5 years, they learned something about caring for themselves also, from taking care of the plants and, seed to plate is what we like to say, right? You get your hands dirty and it produces something, and the next question is, well, what do I do with this? And so then we get to expose them to healthier foods, which you can find in this area because we're currently in a food desert. We just recently, within the last 6 weeks, we have our first fresh food access point of a Century grocery store that's literally 1 block north of where we are right here. So we're excited about fresh food access. We're excited about the learning that the babies get to experience. And we're excited about our future. You know, we are receiving a lot of attention for our efforts, which is a win.
Nationally.
Yes.
Want to share what happened?
Well,
Of course you do.
this is a brag,
You have
right?
to.
So
Well-deserved brag.
we received the Green Ribbon Award for Browning School, which is a national award based in part of our greenhouse activities and our garden beds. The word got out, people started to take notice, and lo and behold, we get invited to Washington for this, maybe 2 in the state of Wisconsin, I believe, received this award. And it's all based on sustainability, it's based on green practices, and it fits our brand new neighborhood. So, you know, yeah, we did that.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's
We
awesome.
did that.
That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
What's so inspiring for me is I keep hearing about how you guys saw something and then you did something about it. You know, sharp literacy, for you to look at this greenhouse and say, you know, you don't have to stay in this box of literacy, and really go where you feel like there's the need and see how they work together. Like reading applies to all of this too.
Yes.
Like how do you correlate them together?
Yeah, so we have what we call workshops. Again, we're K3 through 5th grade. So we want kids to have experiences that they normally wouldn't have. So depending on the curriculum they're learning, so I'm going to use the 1st grade curriculum. We do all of our curriculum in-house, which is just awesome. So then we train our educators. So the curriculum in 1st grade is all about bees and pollen and hibernation and colonies. So, and we also produce books. So we have books that are called We Love to Learn. So one is about the busy bee, and it's just a really, really cute story about Bella the bee. So all the books, they're curriculum books, but they're just beautifully, beautifully, aesthetically, just, you look at them and you just have to smile, because Bella the bee is just a beautiful busy bee, and they have honeybees and worker bees, and so that we actually work around the book where we come up with workshops. So we have educators that go into the classrooms during the academic year, which is amazing in itself. That's, if you can ask me one thing that I'm proud of so many things, but one thing I'm proud of is that we are, I believe, the only nonprofit in the elementary arena that allow us to go in during the academic day. Because otherwise, if you guys are coming in, what are the kids not doing? It's not like that. They see the impact that we make, so they want us to come in. So we do all kinds of hands-on. We do a lot of arts integration. We learn all about STEAM principles, so science, technology, engineering. And we were started on the premises of art. So the A in STEAM is really the big A, and then math. So we weave everything. We do read alouds. We have phenomenal educators that are, you know, that the students love having somebody come in. They see their teacher 8 hours a day. So when we have Miss Mary or Miss Corey or Miss whoever it may be of our educators come in, they get so excited because they know they're going to be doing something really fun and educational at the same time. And in addition to our workshops that we provide, we also have educational tour experiences. People are like, field trips. I'm like, no, they're not field trips. They're experiences. Because I think about when I was growing up, and a field trip would be like just goofing around, you know, you'd be running around. But we provide educational experiences. So our 1st grade is at the Milwaukee Domes, the Domes. So they have a program all about bees. And so our educators work with their educators, and they get together and they come up with this awesome educational tour experience for our kids. So what they're learning in the classroom is being reinforced when they get to the domes.
Yep.
I mean, it's
so
just
cool.
amazing, and they get so excited. And the one thing that I've noticed too is these kids on these educational tour experiences are just so well behaved, because I think they just feel very blessed, and they feel very like, wow, you know, we get to do this. Normally without Sharp, we go to Urban Ecology Center. We do the Milwaukee Art Museum, Discovery World, Linden Sculpture Gardens. We're out in Waukesha at the Prairie Springs and Educational Environmental Center, Retzer, the Waukesha Community Museum. So these kids are getting all of these experiences by being a part of Sharp Literacy.
Yeah.
It means so much to me how much you collaborate with other organizations in the community, because we can all do this together.
Yes.
Right, and it's
Yes.
it's a saying that I think is overused, but I truly believe we're better together.
We are.
We can accomplish more, and we can make more of an impact together than we can alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well stated. We can do more together. You know, there's one thing, then I'll get off my soapbox, but when you get the opportunity to collaborate, it lessens the pool of your talent. And so, perfect example with Sharp, they bring in the arts, Silver Spring Neighborhood Center. We support in other ways with, identifying potential clients, our kiddos. We have other partners that maybe can add to the mix. And what happens, you get this gigantic bowl of gumbo, right? And so, originally, when it comes together, the flavors haven't married yet. So let's say like our first year or two, right? We were still trying to figure out each other's cadence. But then after that simmering, we're so flavorful right now. It's you can taste it through the camera. That's how flavorful we are right now. But if it wasn't for collaboration, we wouldn't be here right now. We had some other phenomenal partners help support our combined efforts. I don't want to name drop and take it away from anything, but Johnson Controls being one.
We wouldn't be able to do it without the funding. They saw that it was right from the beginning. James Burke, who is one of our board members, is an engineer, big more than that. Now he's a bigwig there. But when we started putting this team together on how do we do this? How do we renovate this? I mean, it was in bad shape.
Yeah.
It was in really bad shape. How do we do this? And between Milwaukee Public Schools, Silver Spring, Browning, Johnson Controls, Port Fish,
MSOE,
the MSOE.
Kid Ritter, Milwaukee Beautiful at the time with Joe Wilson.
And it was a lot of work. It was a lot of button heads, and I shouldn't say button heads, but I don't think we can do that. Yeah, I think we can do that. We had to put a fence up. How in the heck are we going to put a fence up? Where are we going to get the money to put a fence up? How are we going to do, all this, but you know what? We figured it out. And my biggest, I shouldn't say my biggest, but maybe my board's biggest concern was that it would be like so many greenhouses in the city, is that it's good for a year and then nobody keeps it up, and but I said I will, till the day I leave, and even hopefully after that, leave Sharp, retire, or whatever it may be, is that this place will continue to flourish, and it'll continue. We're not happy with just having it like, okay, well, we got all this. No, we need to do more. We want to do native plants. We want to have a butterfly garden. We want to, it's continual. Continue to grow it and just provide that many more experiences for our kiddos.
I really appreciate that you mentioned that sometimes people have different opinions about what should happen, because that is a big thing that we preach with Harmonic Harvest, is that we don't all have the same idea about what should be done. And we should maybe get a little bit more excited about that conversation and finding those solutions together, rather than just being upset that there's a dispute. Like, there are going to be disputes, but if we sit down, we could figure it out together. We can address our concerns, because sometimes, most of the time, they're really valid. If someone has seen a lot of greenhouses go up and then they're only there for a year, it makes sense that they would feel the way that they do. And I can hear the passion in your voice and the drive that you guys had, showing me around, showing me, how this has really evolved over time. You're just showing with action that it isn't just words, and you're doing what you gotta do.
Yeah, it is. You just do what you have to do, and the best part of it, and you see, when you see these kids and you see them picking a zucchini that they just, they're harvesting zucchini and they don't know what is this? And then you make them zucchini bread and they're like, oh my God, this is phenomenal. And they get to bring vegetables home, and we try to send recipes home with them so they can go home to their, home and their parents and say, guess what we did today?
Kale chips. I've never had kale chips until we had kale in the garden, and the solar dehydrator, you throw some seasoning on there, you come back in the day, and it's like, wow, these are kale chips, and they were pretty tasty.
And we always try to be culturally responsive, and we've been doing that since the beginning of sending surveys out to the neighborhood and say, like, what would you like to see planted? What do you eat? What they eat on the north side is a lot different than what we plant on the south side. So let's listen to them, and let's listen. You know, when we listened to them, and we were able to, you know, pumpkins and collard greens
and onions,
you know,
tomatoes.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So you know, we don't want it just to be something that's nice and fancy, but it doesn't do any good. It doesn't accomplish what we want it to accomplish or have the impact that it has. And we're learning along the way. I mean, it's, you know, we don't have all the answers. I'm not a master gardener. James isn't a master gardener, but we have, you know, we have people that we can, you know,
tap into.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that not all neighborhoods are doing the same type of gardens.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, and interestingly that we can get to know each other better.
Yes.
Like, how's your garden different than mine? Like, what kind of foods are you growing and eating that maybe I'm not? And for me, I grew up in the country, literally would play in cornfields, and my mom had a garden, which I feel so grateful for. But it's a lot of work.
Yes.
To like live in the city, if you don't have the time or resources to do that type of thing. So the fact that kids can come here and know that they have that experience is like life-changing, really.
It is.
It's important
It
to
is.
know those things along with everything else that you guys have been doing. I love that, you know, throughout this whole season, we've talked about how people go out into the community to find social gatherings. And in this case, with youth especially, it's like you go to them. Like, you figure out where they are, you make it so that there's that ability, because sometimes transportation and resources, it can really just sideswipe everything that you're doing. So what kind of programs do you have in the community outside of school that maybe people are attending? Emily just had an event.
We just had an event, so we just had our largest fundraiser back on November 6th or 7th. And it was our actually 22nd, 23rd annual, we call it a novel event. So when it started off years ago, we would always have authors that would come in and talk about the book that they wrote. And then we kind of changed a little bit and really staying relevant. That's what we're all about too. You know, staying relevant and what are the kids, what's important to the kids now, and what do the kids like, and what's inspiration. And so we've had a lot of sports figures, and in Milwaukee and Waukesha, people love their sports. So, and if you can find an athlete, like we just had at our novel event in November, AJ Dillon, who's a running back for the Green Bay Packers. I think he's in the second year.
Yeah. Go back, go.
So every year you try to think about, okay, last year we had the 3 Brewer pitchers. So we had Corbin Burns, Brent Suter, and it was supposed to be Josh Hader, and then he ended up getting traded like a week before. But again, you talk about so partnerships, and the Milwaukee Brewers and the Brewers Community Foundation are such great partners of ours. So we were able to have the event there, so that supported them too, and it was great. But anyway, so back to AJ Dillon. So when we were looking for a potential speaker this year, and then I don't want to say speaker, they're more, as he called it, like he wanted to do a fireside chat. He didn't want to get up there and, you know, talk about his life. He wanted to talk about, you know, his life and, you know, playing for the Green Bay Packers and overcoming adversity, which at the point when he talked to us and at our event, he wasn't playing real well, and everybody was down on him. You know, but he, you know, he's moving forward. You know, you can have the naysayers and you can do this. But he actually wrote a book called Quadzilla. Keeps his footing, because obviously he's known for his quads, and he's got like the really, really big quads. And the book had such meaning to us, and it had meaning to our kids as well, because it was all about you know, figuring out what you're good at. Not everybody's going to be a football player. Not everybody's going to be an ice skater. Not everybody's going to be a swimmer. Not everybody's going to be a doctor. But and it's just a great kids book about finding what it is that you're good at and embracing that, instead of trying to be a football player when you're, you know, 5'2" and you know, a female or whatever. So we had over 400 people there, and it was just an amazing event. A lot of time before for everybody to network. You know, we had great catering. Saz's did the catering, and we had students there from some of our schools. that had read the book and were part of the video that we did. So for them to be able to get up on stage and high five AJ Dillon, I mean, like, again, those are experiences. How many, when you were they were third graders, fourth graders, did you get to high five any professional football players? And, he was just thrilled to be there and to be the video in front of 400 attendees, and there they are talking about the impact that we're making on their lives. And like and a couple of them said, like, they're game changers.
Right.
I never thought I could do this. And we're teaching kids at a very young age, third, fourth, and fifth grade. We're learning them computational thinking. They're learning how to code. They're learning, VR experiences. Code the Hone. We have a great relationship with Light the Hone and MSOE, where the kids learn how to light the hone, and like they can do it in their school colors. They can do it in their favorite basketball team colors. But all of these things that really, we improve literacy, but just as important is that we help them with their essential skills, which are just as important. So, teamwork and perseverance and, just never giving up, and all of that is so important. And the other thing that we spend a lot of time with is social and emotional learning.
Yes.
After COVID, these kids, all kids, were in
and adults.
It was hard. It was hard to, as my husband always says, like re-entry.
Yes.
So after being, working remotely or learning remotely, that these kids they came back and they needed to learn how to get along. They needed to learn that I am worth it, and I can do this, because they were at homes, or even like with me. I mean, I was home alone. I mean, my husband, but the kids are out. And it's hard. It's hard to like. You don't have that with the kids. You don't have that, like, hey, good job, and my buddy's over here, and I went to lunch with, I got to sit with Susie and Tommy, and so we do a lot of social emotional activities with the kids. One that sticks out in my mind, and again, I have just a phenomenal staff. That our director of arts integration is, her master's is in art therapy, so we do proud clouds. So each kid gets a cloud, and they spend 5 minutes writing in their cloud what they're proud of. And they're like, nobody's ever asked me that. Nobody's ever asked me what I'm proud of. I'm proud that I'm an aunt. I'm proud that I know how to, play football. I mean, it was just like, you read them and it's hard not to get emotional. You're just so thankful that we're giving them an outlet to be able to, be positive. And
thank you. I mean, a lot of this resonated with me and Harmonic Harvest, because I want people to look inward and think about what they're proud of, and to know that they have something to offer, that, not just one thing. It could be football, but like, he's way more than a football player. You have way more to contribute to the world and for yourself than just these roles that we play. And even our hardships are our strengths. And if we can be in a world that is like open to letting us to do that, right. I think that's through social gatherings.
Absolutely.
If I could step up and maybe be a leader, or maybe just a volunteer, or maybe I just attend, or maybe I don't attend and I just tell someone about it.
Yep.
All of that matters.
Yes, it does.
we have a great volunteer program, as I know James can talk about his, where we have a lot of our corporations and foundations, especially our corporate, I want to say Quad and Johnson Controls and Brady, that their employees get to come in the classroom and get to mentor them, or we do a design challenge where they get to, it's almost like a science fair, and they get to rate the kids, and the kids have to talk to them. Here you got VPs of companies, you got people from the Bucks, and to talk about why they did what they did, which is just amazing. And they, again, it gives it kind of, you can kind of see them feeling, from, like, I can do
Puffing up a little
this,
bit.
and
People to believe in themselves.
Yep.
yeah, and the positive reinforcement. So we have an awesome volunteer program, not only for special events that we have, but also work in the classroom.
So here at the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center, we have multiple areas of programming, from early childhood education, starting with 6-week-olds, all the way through adult education in partnership with Literacy Services. We have a food pantry serving 3 zip codes on Milwaukee's northwest side. We have youth social development programming, that's our tweens and teens. And then we have after school programming. But if you want to get involved, I would say, number one, go to our website, ssnc-milw.org. and just kind of take a look around and see if there's something that speaks to your inner core. And then there will be contact information at that point to where you can send us an email, and then one of my team members will definitely get back to you. To close the door on this business, without volunteers, without donors, without people who take interest in helping impact positively the lives of our community, we would not exist. We are currently celebrating our 65th birthday, okay? You don't get to be in a nonprofit business for 65 years if you're not good at hitting outcomes. And outcomes that we've been able to collaborate to achieve have been unchartable. If you see some of our kids from 2019 prior to the pandemic, come back and see some of the artwork that they've worked on, that sense of ownership, that sense of pride, that self-confidence that they developed through our programming, game changer. That's all.
Thank you.
But
You're definitely a silver lining in our community.
thank you, sister. First time I've been calling silver lining.
No.
That's right. I'm getting people to realize that.
And I guess I just want to end it by thanking you for what you're doing and highlighting, nonprofits. There's I don't even know the number of nonprofits just in this city in Milwaukee. Right.
Businesses, just even people that want to. There's this one guy, I had mentioned him a couple of times, with Zach, but he just did a 24-hour workout for a nonprofit to raise money for them. He raised $22,000 for them.
Wow.
So it is, you were mentioning there are a lot of nonprofits. There are a lot of businesses and people that are just trying to put in that work, and like, how do we give them that recognition?
Right, and it's just great that you're highlighting all the good that's going on, because I don't know about you, but I read the paper every day, and it's hard to sometimes, it's hard to read, but in the back of my mind, I always know that there are so many people out there that care, whether they're nonprofits or they're, individuals, and, what you're doing. It takes a village, and, it's not always rosy. Some of the things that we see are pretty hard. But to know that one kid at a time that we're touching you. So thank you.
When I decided to make Harmonic Harvest and support the people that are doing the work, it's because I've done the work and I know how hard it can be. And burnout is real. The stuff that you see is real. And you just have to keep moving forward and get those outcomes. And if I can help create a little bit of an easier path, or celebrate the work that is being done and let people know about the work that's being done, that just means a lot to me, because I come from an area where I didn't know a lot about Milwaukee, and when I moved here, I have learned so much. You mentioned watching the news. You hear a lot of bad things. I've been seeing way more good than bad, and the bad I see that even in my small town or small communities I came from, to see something like this, to be sitting in this greenhouse with you guys, I mean, we need more of this. And I think Milwaukee and all over Wisconsin, and as Harmonic Harvest continues to grow, we're going to keep showing people these blueprints so that, anyone can do this. It just takes people who are willing and passionate and
care.
We're going to continue not just do it, but then, evolve it and really let it grow.
Make this place a better place.
Absolutely. So sow a seed, reap a harmonic harvest. Kind of fits our agriculture thing. Right?
It does.
Yes, harmonic.
Sow a seed, reap a harmonic harvest.
Yeah.
Time, talent, treasure.
You're hired.
Yeah.
Look for the silver lining whenever a cloud.
Hey, it's me again. I just want to thank everybody for watching. This entire series has been very organic, raw. I have done all of it in one take, nothing is scripted, and therefore sometimes I might forget some things or maybe stumble upon some words. And I just needed to add that you just watched the interview with Sharp Literacy. They were granted $10,000. I told them after the interview, wasn't captured on film, but I wanted to incorporate that into Weaving Silver Linings And now I'm about to go give Urban Ecology Center $10,000. Let's watch the interview.
The sunny side of life.
Hi, this is Jen and Marcos. Thank you for being here with me today. I am at Urban Ecology Center here in Milwaukee. It's a really exciting place. I'm looking forward to telling everyone what this organization does. I had written down when I knew I wanted to do a grant, all these different realms of social gatherings that would be nice to have. It's not that I needed to do it, but you know, finding an organization that worked with outdoors, you know, science, that was really important to me. And I kept reaching out to organizations. I was trying to work really all over Wisconsin, but I was just going through maybe my network or what I was stumbling upon. And believe it or not, some people said no to this, which is totally fine. I'm trusting the process. But I had talked to Neil, who works with Big Brother Big Sisters. He's one of the grant recipients, and he knows a lot of organizations. Yes. And I was just telling him, like, I'm looking for people to give this grant to. And the time is ticking because really I decided to make this docuseries, and I haven't even found these 2 last grant recipients, and we're about to launch. So I was like trying to get this done. And he mentioned Urban Ecology Center. He said so many great things. He gave me your contact, and you know, I was explaining to you what harmonic harvest is, and it was a Monday morning, and I legit, to be like straightforward, I was meditating and praying, and it was just like in the morning, I'm like, you know, I feel good about where harmonic harvest is at. And I know that everything is going to work out. Like, everything has been going so well, but like I need a little bit more to like really make me feel like we're good. And right after that, I then go into like my emails, and you said we want to work with Harmonic Harvest. So I was like, yes, okay, we're good. I'm like, I was so happy. And then the next day, I'm on Facebook, and Cookie gave you guys 1,000 grains. And I'm like, she had no idea that you guys were gonna work with Harmonic Harvest, and she was our volunteer award recipient. And I didn't even tell you guys, she's my relative. My mom ended up finding her this past summer from like Ancestry. And I had told her that I moved to Milwaukee, so she was constantly inviting me to volunteer opportunities, like telling me about all these things that are going on. And she's on this mission to give out 100,000 grains. So when I saw that she gave them to you guys, I was just like, okay, we're good.
It's aligned.
Yeah, thanks. What was it like for you guys to receive those? Like, tell me about your point of view from that.
Sure. So we actually met Cookie. She was here at the Menominee Valley for a Rights of Nature gathering, and she said, you know, I really love what the Urban Ecology Center is doing, and I like to find people who are working for peace. And so she told us the story of making the 1,000 paper cranes, which is incredible. And so she asked if she could stop by and bring them over. So she actually brought them to our Washington Park location, which is a really neat place for them to be because we're temporarily officing out of the Washington Park Pool House while we are rebuilding the Washington Park Urban Ecology Center. So I'm really excited to see them hanging in this brand new building as this really incredible symbol of what we were trying to do in the community. So it was, it was really neat. And she came and just, you know, chatted with our team a little bit and told her story, and it was really, I don't know, a special day.
That is so special. She's also giving 1,000 cranes to Big Brother Big Sister. So it's just been nice, like, for me to kind of see it all unfold in the community. She's out there doing her thing.
Yeah, it's neat.
But it's like a nice story too, like we can all, you know, just by like a small gesture, you know, and look at how we're talking about it right now, you know, like she's doing great. So if you know any volunteers that you want to nominate for season 2, the website is live for you to do that right now.
Great.
Do you guys want to introduce who you are and what you do with the Urban Ecology Center?
Sure. So I'm Jen Hensey. I, she, her pronouns. I'm the executive director here at the Urban Ecology Center. I actually started with the Urban Ecology Center about 8 years ago and just moved into the executive director role in June. So it's been a pretty great journey. And so our mission is to connect people and cities to nature and each other. And so I think when you're talking about connections and community and being able to do that in outdoor spaces and our green spaces right in the city, that's at the heart of what we do. So it seems like a really natural fit.
Congratulations on the promotion. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So that's me.
And what about you?
Buenas noches, me llamo Marcos Guevara. I use he, him, él pronouns. The work I do here at the Urban Ecology Center falls into 3 big buckets. One is organizational strategic alignment. 2 is facilities management, which includes also managing our 2 big capital projects, the renovation of the Washington Park building that Jen just mentioned, and then we're also doing an event space in the Riverside Park location. And then finally, I work with the branch directors at each one of our 3 branches to do community engagement. So I have the great fortune of helping us connect to our neighbors. And that's a lot of fun.
That is really nice. And congrats on the park.
Yeah.
What is that going to be?
Well, so Washington Park we've been in Washington Park in an old county facility since 2007. We're kind of expanding our footprint there and doing more and more work in the community. And so now we're in the process, we broke ground in August for a new expanded and renovated space there, right on the lagoon, right in the heart of Washington Park. So it's a really neat space. Yeah.
And that's where the cranes are going to go.
And that's where the cranes will be. Yeah.
It's too good. You mentioned community outreach. What does that all look like?
So for us, it's creating a space where people can feel comfortable, right? A third space. Make sure that there are ways for them to connect to the parks. All 3 of our locations are connected to a park. 3 Bridges Park is just north of here. And then the other 2 locations, Washington Park and Riverside Park, are pretty obvious, right? So just reaching out to people. We've got students coming through here with our environmental education program. We've got some community science happening where people can volunteer to do bird banding or dragonfly banding, or we've got birding happening almost every day in every single one of our locations. We've got a snake survey that happens in the spring over the summer, right? So there's a lot of ways that we make sure people feel that they can be here, and then we try to put them together and connect them to the park.
I can't wait to do this stuff. Everything that's being said, I'm like, I want to do this. Let's go into like the history of like what is the Urban Ecology Center, and then get into all the programs that are happening.
Sure. So the Urban Ecology Center was really started as the Riverside Park Environmental Center in the 80s, and it was a group of community members who came together really concerned about the Riverside Park itself. So they wanted to, there was a lot of crime and a lot of destruction in the park, and the neighbors were concerned about that. And there was an idea that perhaps the park would be taken away and turn into, maybe there would be development that would be done though. So they really came together to save the trees and to save the green space. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they realized was if we activate this green space, if we have people who start using the space, if people start taking ownership of it, it becomes a really vibrant place in our community, and becomes a place that connects people instead of a place that people are like, that's not a space that I want to be. So we started out of a trailer in Riverside Park then in the 90s, In 2000-ish, 2004, the Riverside Park building was built. And shortly after that, in 2007, the Washington Park building came into be. That was a space that already existed, and the neighborhood kind of came together to say, we'd like an urban ecology center in our neighborhood and in our park as well. And then in 2012, a number of organizations came together to create the Menominee Valley and the Three Bridges Park. So Menominee Valley Partners, Urban Ecology Center, the Department of Transportation, and a lot of other partners actually created Three Bridges Park. So our work is really about connecting people in cities to all of the nature that surrounds them. One of our primary programs that we run is called the Neighborhood Environmental Education Project. And we work with schools that are just within a 2-mile radius of each of our branches. So our educators go and pick the kids up at school on our buses, bring them back for their science learning for the day, and connect them to the park that's hopefully, closest to them in their neighborhood. So that's one of the kind of the primary programs that we run. But I think one of the neat things about the UEC is that there's also just programs that kind of happen because a neighbor has an interest, or someone says, hey, I always wanted to learn more about this, or I see that you have canoes, and I know that you're on the Menominee River or the Milwaukee River, you're on the lagoon, and I've never been in a boat. So what do I do? How can you help? So that's our role. That is to connect them and to say, well, here's how you can have those first experiences in nature.
And we've been operating long enough now that it's becoming a generational milestone. So, for instance, we'll have people at Washington Park who will come in with their kid and say, this is where I learned how to fish. I want to teach my kid how to fish, right? Mm-hmm. Can I borrow a fishing pole? And we'll give them a couple poles and a tackle box, and they'll go fish in the lagoon.
That is so great. Like, I think that our connection to nature is life-changing. Like,
Agreed.
I grew up in, most of my childhood, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. Like, I got to play in cornfields and in the country. And when I hear about, youth that are growing up in the city and that you're trying to, connect them with their local park and make their park feel safe and exciting, and even adults, if they're saying I have never kayaked or been out on the river, and you're just like helping them get out there,
Yeah.
that is what Harmonic Harvest is all about.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. That's
Well, and
incredible.
there's some really interesting research that we found too, that when you find a child and you connect them to a green space, right, they start taking ownership of that. And if you take that same child and then you introduce a mentor into that picture who shows them how to do those things, right, who gives them the opportunity, he says, like, let's get down and dig in the dirt and see if we can find worms, whatever that is, right? So the more connected they are, and having that special person to help make that connection to them, their environmental ethic grows, right? Instead of just saying to kids, like, you should really care about this planet. It's like, well, I don't know why, right? It's like, well, because it's your park that you should be caring about. And so just connecting kids in that way,
Right.
is really powerful, and it helps them to build that environmental ethic so that they want to steward the park. They are invested. They want to know when they come back with their kids that they're going to be able to fish, or that fort that they built is going to be there, and they want to go and show their parents, like, look what we did, or I saw a fish, I saw a salmon coming up the river, like, I didn't even know that was a thing, right? Yeah. So all of those ways that they can really touch and feel and experience nature right in the heart of the city, not necessarily out in a rural setting or the cornfield or a place that they didn't have access to, but it's right here.
So, I think just putting our feet on the ground makes a huge difference. I don't want to get into like physics and and start talking about statistics and things that I don't know off the top of my head, but I know even just like having plants inside your space makes you happier. All of that stuff really matters. Have you seen like a huge change within people when they start connecting to nature?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think especially those moments where that awe, when you talk about like finding awe in nature, when you have that moment where, you're outside and you watch the hawk go by, right? Or you see, it's like, there's a deer in the middle of Washington Park. Like, I didn't know that was a thing, right? So those moments of awe that maybe somebody hasn't had, I think those are the times where they connect. We have a lot of kids who will come through our summer camps, or they'll come through those neighborhood environmental education projects, and then they come back as volunteers. They come back as high school outdoor leaders. They will come back as staff. I met with some of our new staff today, and someone was saying, like, I remember seeing the turtle in the tank. Like, that's one of my very first memories, is like actually seeing that. And so now the opportunity to be here, to be able to give that back to other kids, is, you know, a pretty powerful opportunity for people.
Yeah, paying it forward.
And I'm doing a number of interviews. We have a lot of opportunities for people, right, from internships to part-time positions. So we're always doing interviews. And today I asked somebody, so what about this position interests you? And her response was fantastic. She said, I remember as a kid going to one of your centers, and that feeling I had, I want to share that. I want to make sure to extend that to my daughter and to her friends and my neighbors, and right. So that's why I go back to that generational impact, that we've been operating long enough that now the parents are starting to go. This is something I want to make sure that the next generation experiences.
I love that. Thank you for sharing those with me.
Yeah, we are offering a new program. It's called Take It Outside Days, and it's really just an opportunity. We have all of our outdoor equipment, and it's the opportunity for people to just come and be able to use it for free. So in October, there was Take It Outside Day canoeing on Milwaukee River, and one of our staff was just telling a story about two ladies in their 60s who came down and said, like, I've never this is like a bucket list thing for me to be able to get into a canoe. And so just getting out there and like figuring out, you know, how do you hold the paddle, and what does that feel like, and paddling into the wind, and then having the current bring you back down, you know, and just again having that experience, whether that is as a kid or as a 60-year-old, of like, yeah, I've never had this opportunity. No. And then again, building that community so that they know, you know, we're there to help, and we can help facilitate, but we don't have to be there to do all of those things. Hope people will come together just to come together, right? And you make friends that come on a walk and with the caminatas on a Wednesday morning, and now they come every Wednesday morning because that's their group, and they're not gonna miss it. Rain, snow, hail, it doesn't matter. The women are gonna be out walking in the park because that's an important group to them, right? To connect.
Right. So, let's look at some of these activities and groups. Guided hikes, winter science experiments, and that's for any age?
Yep. So those are actually activities that are happening during our winter break. And so the idea is there are programs that are offered, but also if you just want to come in with your kids and you want to come in and have a cup of hot chocolate and do a science experiment that's ready for you, you can do that. So some of it is we're going to walk you through it. But if you walk into the Menominee Valley or Washington Park, there are backpacks that are just hanging up that are just ready for you to go and explore. So you can just say like, okay, we're going to take this backpack, and you open it up and it's like there's activities in there. There could be a scavenger hunt, but it's like ready to go out into the park. You don't necessarily need us to be there to lead you through it. So these are just some of the activities that people can do.
I really appreciate that, because if you know what you're doing and somebody else comes in, like if I go camping with someone and they're just kind of like setting it up and I'm like helping, but I'm like, I don't know, like they're teaching me so much by supplying, it's like the resource to do it.
Yeah.
And then make you want to do it again.
Yeah. Well, and those foundational experiences in nature, right? So that you just feel comfortable doing it, right? And you might be like, I don't know if this is exactly right, but I think I have like most of the right stuff and I'm mostly doing it right. And like, I'm here and I'm doing it, right? And just like that's pretty empowering to be able to feel like you can do it, that nature is a place for you. It's not something that you have to be an expert to be able to access.
That's great. So, right, I have two different pieces of paper in front of me. One's events overall, and then these are the free drop-in activities. that will be over by the time your episode launches, but there'll be more for
Sure.
when like you do like it for like in January, February.
Yeah, on a regular basis, there are volunteer opportunities. You can come and hang out with our land stewardship team at any time and come volunteer out of the parks. In February, here in Three Bridges Park, there is the Urban Candlelight Walk. So it's in an evening, and you can come through the park, hopefully with some snow. We're not planning on it, but we're hoping for some snow. And we'll have several thousand people come through the park in an evening in February, where it's like, is that where most people would picture themselves on a Saturday night in Wisconsin? Maybe not, but we set it up and hope that people will come and join us. So lots of
I'm
opportunities.
excited. I really want to join you guys.
Yeah.
Winter crafts, sunset guided hikes, gourmet hot cocoa bar. Yes, please. Family story time, bilingual story. What is that?
We'll have
I don't want to
Well-
but
we'll have staff and volunteers reading a story in whatever languages they manage, right? So if I lead a story time, I'll be able to read both the English and the Spanish part. Just that experience, right? That exposure to a different way of thinking, a different way of speaking, enriches everybody's life.
seriously, thank you for doing that. Especially like if I'm trying to learn another language, even if this is like it could be like a kid's book, and I could hear you say it in English and then hear you read it in Spanish, and it will help me get better at what I'm trying to learn.
Right.
There's so many strengths and reasons why I think that's important. So let's see, some of the events that are happening in December. There's exploring Milwaukee's backyards, family night hikes, birding basics. Is this a bird walking?
Yeah, so we have bird walks that happen in all of our branches every week, and then there are times also where you can come and just like learn, like, these are binoculars, this is how you use them, this is what you might be looking for, right? Because again, if you show up into a space where it feels like everyone is the expert, it doesn't feel accessible to you. So how do we make it very comfortable and very welcoming for you to say, like, I don't know how to use binoculars, or I wasn't sure how to do this. And so that's the opportunity.
That is
do
so
that.
incredible. I love bird watching. Like I really want.
What do you like about it?
I just feel like they're dancing. I love watching their patterns and like swallows, like watching them learn is fun because they're like diving and like doing all this like wild stuff. I love, I don't know. I just think it's like a connection. I feel animals can come to you as forms of messengers sometimes too. So I look into like the meaning of what kind of animal is being presented to me and like maybe how it's resonating with me, and just the colors and maybe if it's singing or they're talking to each other.
That's fascinating.
And I have a dog, so when I'm walking him, sometimes like he's interacting with the birds and it's cute.
Well, I think bird watching is something that can be really accessible too. So earlier this fall, we worked with the Ability Center, and so a number of individuals who have a disability came and they did the big sit. So they sat, but they watched birds. And so it wasn't like you don't have to go out somewhere, you don't have to be able to walk real far. You can do it right here, and we can talk about right here. What do we hear? What do we see? What do we think that is? Let's identify the calls, all of that. So
Do you guys ever do anything with mushrooms?
we do all kinds of fungi, fun stuff. Yeah, actually, coming up, there's a fungi film festival that we do during the summer at Riverside Park. They'll do a fungi foray, so they go and we don't forage because we don't forage in the county parks, but we do go and identify fungi that are out there.
Yeah, that is
So,
cool.
yeah.
I also like hearing that too. I'm always like, what is this? I think mushrooms are so cool. Yeah.
And there's
Definitely.
also the fun things. So, again, the idea of like bringing people in, and sometimes the building is invested to do that, right? So we will have, the Friends of Real Food holds a potluck the third Thursday of every month, right? Or there's an Urban Ecology Center photo club, you know, so there's just lots of different ways that people can kind of wiggle their way in.
It's incredible. There's yoga, eco-friendly gift wrapping, trails aglow, lots of volunteer opportunities, orientations, winter potlucks. What I keep wanting to jump to is a pudgy pie feast. I love pudgy pies. Mindful mending. Would you like to share more about what that is? Because I really am trying to throw mindfulness out a lot with Harmonic Harvest.
Yeah, so part of that is just, again, a group that kind of came together. We're like, well, I'm not joining into fast culture and fast fashion, right? So what can we do to make sure that, like, I have this perfectly good sweater, it has this little hole in the elbow, what can I do about it? Maybe I know how to mend it and maybe I don't. So showing up in one of our spaces and saying, like, I have this, can someone help, right? And it's just this lovely community of people who are like, oh yeah, I think you could try this, or have you thought about that? So they're mending and they're taking care of their items, but they're also just chatting, spending time together, and slowing down, maybe enjoying a cup of coffee or hot chocolate and just like being together. So like a lot of things, right, where it starts around the particular activity, but then it grows to just being about the people and the community that you're building. So
I think it's really great. I have a sewing room in my condo, like a little station for me to sew and do things, and I'm still learning a lot. So if I ever have something,
come in and check it out.
yeah. And even just like having fun with it. If you have a hole in something, like how do you, repair it? Because there's so many ways you can do that. I do like trying to make the longevity of my things, so I think it's great you're doing that. Walks with women, friends and family game night, story time Saturdays, park rangers, public animal feedings. I just really have to thank you guys for everything you're doing, because this is just 1 month and this has been going on since the 80s. To hear that this started because of there was deterioration happening in the park, and that's one of the things that I say with our mission is that I think social gatherings are fighting against deterioration in our community.
Yeah.
And the fact that there were people that saw that and thought, we're just not going to let it take over, like we're going to create something that can tip the scales and make us feel good about what we have and look at where it is today. So thank you for being a part of this grant.
Thank you.
Harmonic Harvest will be awarding $10,000 to the Ecology Center.
Thank you.
Thank you
Wow,
guys.
that's awesome.
That's fantastic.
It is really like an honor for me to be able to help and support organizations like this. I know the ripple effect of anything I can do to help is gonna continue, even to a kid that gets to see a turtle, or they're walking through the park, or so many countless, endless, infinite ways, honestly, I feel,
Agreed.
from what you guys are doing. And I'm really excited to come to these.
Yeah.
Really, really, really happy that I learned about this, and I'm hoping that anyone around the world who's watching something like this can be inspired to do that in their communities if they see the need.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll look for you at Mindful Mending, and we'll get you out walking in
The
the
summer
park
at the
and-
Fun Fitness Festival.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm definitely gonna need to come to this pudgy pie feast. This is great. I wonder, there might be people who are watching this that have no idea what a pudgy pie is. I've had to start listening to myself in my recordings. I'm like, man, I sound like such a Wisconsin. I'm wondering about pudgy pie, but that's fine. So thank you, appreciate
Yeah,
it,
thanks.
and that's it.
I'm the